Okay, so I've been very fortunate enough to have the chance to work in a wealth management division of a bank, and that's why this topic today is actually something that's very dearly to me because it's something that's growing technology here. Although like a lot of wealth management advisor kind of help that the investment of technology don't grow that much, so their work won't be replaced by automations. Okay, so good morning, ladies and gentlemen, honorable judges. Thank you for having us here today. We're from Team City University of Hong Kong. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Renzi, and these are my teammates, Joyce, Kaylee, and also Ruby. So we're here today, and the question that your company, Wealthfront, has asked us today is how to regain wealth of the Wealthfront's growth engine within 3 years' time. So ladies and gentlemen, honorable judges, our team proudly presents the answer to your question, which is Wealthfront 2020. So what is Wealthfront 2020? The Wealthfront 2020 will be divided into two sub-strategies, which is the first one is optimize, and also the second one is educate. But before we go into further details of the strategies and also the problems that we think Wealthfront needs to tackle, let's go into details of how currently the company is doing in the market and also how our strategy can fit into the whole picture. So currently, we know that actually the Wealthfront's facing a lot of problems. However, we would like to only focus on one and really important things, which is how Wealthfront has a really low, small customer base. And that's why we believe for Wealthfront, by implementing our strategy, which is the Wealthfront 2020, it can grow its customer base into two types, which is the customers that is believing in the tech itself, and also the customers that's not believing, doesn't really believe about the technology itself, in which we will refer it as the mass market. So how the strategy will work is that we would suggest Wealthfront to implement our optimized strategy, which is consisted of the chatbot technology in order to optimize what they already have currently for the existing customers that believing in the technology itself of what the algorithm that Wealthfront already has. And then also secondly, in order to capture the attention of the mass market, those who haven't believed like in the technology that your company is having now, we would like to suggest for your company in order to implement the second optimized strategy, which will be including introducing a hybrid system. And also the secondly is about educating, in which we will try to recommend action steps, which consisting of holding conferences and also having a free trial program. And in the future, we kind of like foresee that Wealthfront needs to convert eventually this mass market, those that didn't believe in technology, to believe in the technology itself. So now I will go into details and a little bit of a problem background of the issues that your company needs to tackle in order to achieve these future situations that your company desire. So your current customer, Wealthfront current target customer, is those techies and tech-savvy customers. Wealthfront focuses on employees like Facebook, like Twitter. Those two big companies, their employees has a lot of employees option stocks in which they provided investment service. Wealthfront provided investment service for them. And also, we were hoping for Wealthfront to grow this customer base because it's not enough, it's not really sustainable for the future. And so now, here is the current business model that you have. So Wealthfront is located at the center, which is the financial service itself. So how does it work? You have the algorithm and you have the sophisticated platform that you have for your customer, and then your customers pay a freemium subscription of which is depending on your EWM, which is your asset under management. You charge a 0.25% fee for those who have an amount of investment more than 10,000 US dollars. And also, what's great about your platform is that you're providing 4 investment services, which is the first one is about the tax loss harvesting, in which it's really your core competencies. Later, my colleague will talk more about that. And also, you have like several other core competencies as well. the next most important, rather than the tax loss, is also the dynamic portfolio rebalancing, that your system is actually rebalance the customer's portfolio once there's detected a discrepancy in terms of its asset allocations. So other than that, we know that your company initially set an AWM for minimum account opening of 5,000 US dollars. However, you lower that amount to 500, which shows that your company actually wants to grow your customer base. So now I will pass the time to my colleague Joyce to further discuss about that.
So in order to understand how your companies are working, we first need to know about the core competence of your company. Firstly, your companies do not want to have human involvement in the whole transactions. It's because your company can see that in the market, there's so much inefficiency and ethical behaviors from the financial servicer. Therefore, you do not want any human involved into it. And secondly, you provide more transparency, because normally now in the market, they only provide you information when you have the beginning investment and at the end of your investment. And in what happening in between, you do not know any about it. But with your company service, now you provide a whole round of transparency and provide you all the details. Thirdly, it's about the low fee of the customer fee. In the traditional market, they charge a lot, including advisory fee, including the fund management fee, and also the one-stop sales fee. But now your company is so good that you only charge for 0.25% of the service fee, which is the lowest among all the competitors in the market. Therefore, your company is really very good, and this is exactly your core competence. But what makes it bad is about the following problems. Why people will choose to use your service mostly are those who understand about technology, who understand about the financial service. They are feeling trust and they believe in your system because they know about it. But however, how many percentage of these people are occurring in the market? Only 15%. Does this enough? I don't think so. Does it help to sustain your growth? It's definitely not enough at all. Therefore, we need to capture more customers in order to capture more market and also more revenue so that it can boost your growth and attain the objective we are providing you today. However, we understand that you want to capture the techies because they are very easy to capture because they understand about the tech. Therefore, in the following, we will provide you suggestions mainly target on these two different market segments. And now I will pass the time to Ruby to tell you more about how our strategy works and how they can solve this problem.
Thank you, Joyce. In order to boost your customer base, to grow your business, and compete with other competitors to make it sustainable, we hereby propose you our strategy, Wealthfront 2020, which incorporates two major elements, optimize and educate. With respect to the first strategy, optimize, we propose you to further improve your robotic service by introducing chatbot technology. By doing so, you are able to increase customer satisfaction and build loyalty from the tech-savvy clients. Besides, we also suggest you to launch a hybrid product which incorporates robotic and human service, using another name called Wealthfront. By doing so, you are able to recruit new non-tech-savvy customers as your users because you introduce some humane features within. So, with respect to the second strategy, educate, we propose you to first launch a conference in order to build your brand recognition and utilization from tech-savvy clients. Besides, we also propose you to launch a free trial in order to get trust from the non-tech-savvy users and recruit them as your clients via good experience. So I will walk you through the second strategy, educate, whereas my colleague Kaylee will walk you through optimize. Kaylee, please.
Thank you, Ruby. And now let me introduce you about our strategy, optimize. First, to divide our strategy, optimize, the first target customer is still technology-savvy users, which is your originally users. Now, your users would crave for some instant information and also some advisory services. So we are suggesting your company to provide this chatbot service, adopting this chatbot service through licensing, which is gain a lower cost cost your company lower cost. And what is this chatbot? We are providing some 24/7 advisory service, so to add value and also bring in the customer loyalty to ensure your customer to stay in your company for a while longer. So after that chatbot service, which is for your tech-savvy users, now we are talking about the mass market. Some of the customer currently, your target customer, they are 50% to they would like to believe into the technology. However, they 50% of their heart they would like to believe in human. They are kind of have a struggling beside in this situation right now. So we are proposing that your company should adopt this hybrid strategy, which is launching a new brand, a new company called Wealthcare. Why we launched this new brand? Because your CEO would like to adopt less human resources in your company, within your advisory service. If we launch this service within Wealthfront, it will dilute your targeting, your positioning. So we are now going to launch another brand, which is Wealthcare. What is it? We provide a relationship manager plus our robots. That we entertain the needs of the customers in the mass market. So what is the relationship manager actually doing? They are providing some advertising, like what is your company core competence? It's about the tax service. What is the tax service? The tax service can generates more alpha. The alpha, which means the return for your customer. The tax service generates more alpha, which is the most important criteria for your clients. So the second one is about to explain the product offerings. What is our products? It's some discretionary portfolio. That means our investment manager will invest for your clients. We'll explain these offerings, which is some education. And also, relationship manager will find some customers and also build relationship with them. Because as mentioned in the case, human build relationship, but robot can build a relationship. So we're launching this relationship manager to deal with some difficulties and perception of the recent customers. But I have to highlight this point. The relationship manager is only providing some education and also some advice, but not involving any transaction. The decision is still only conducted by the robot. That won't dilute your competitive advantage and also your positioning. And then here comes to the benefits. What is the benefits of launching the Wealthcare, our hybrid strategy? For customers, you enjoy both service. You enjoy our relationship managers, and you also enjoy our robot service. That you can gain knowledge and also increase your alpha, which is your income, your revenue. And also for Wealthfront, your company, we are going to cultivate the trust. I mean, in the whole market, cultivate the trust on the technology, that you can trust the robot to help you to gain more revenue. And also to recruit the new customers back to the market. Maybe you can educate the customers into tech savvy. So to expand the customer base. What makes this success for this hybrid strategy? Just like Unilever, they have many brands under their brand, like Lush and Rexona. So now I will pass the time to my colleague Ruby to illustrate her strategy.
Thank you, Kaylee. So with respect to our second strategy, HK, the highlight of this strategy is to cultivate knowledge so as to build brand awareness and trust. So now let's take a step back to see the analysis that drives this proposal. So currently, you do not have an adequate pool of tech-savvy clients because most of your clients are mainly staff from Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, which is not enough at all and sustainable at all. So hereby, we propose you to launch a conference to build brand awareness and also interest to use your service from these tech-savvy users. And at the same time, your company currently does not have any non-tech-savvy users because they just simply don't trust robots. They may probably opt for a hybrid service or an entirely human service only. So hereby, we propose you to use free trial service so as to build customer trust via their first-hand experience. So at the end, by doing these two proposals, you are able to get a sustainable customer base. So now, how does these two strategies work? So with respect to the conference, we suggest you to pick a topic for the conference which is related to the industry you are in. For example, future of investment technology. So in this conference, you can invite some sponsorship from tech giants, like let's say Google and Alibaba, so as to get more funding support and also serve as a marketing purpose. And besides, you should also invite some prominent guest speaker. For instance, the editor from Bloomberg or Wall Street Journal, which has already endorsed you before, to talk about Wealthfront's product, your product. But this section will only be one part of the conference. So by doing so, you are able to cultivate tech-savvy users about the knowledge about your products and the advantage of it. And at the end, you are able to gain higher recognitions and also interest to try. An example would be a Hong Kong fintech company called MindLayer. In fact, they have grown their market share enormously just by launching conference. And at the same time, with respect to the free trial, we propose you to give $500 per person to the public and let them to invest via our robotic service. And together with the capital and the gain, 5% of the return will be given back to the public, whereas 95% will be given back to your company. So by doing so, you are able to allow the non-tech-savvy user to experience your service and to know the impact of it and serve as an advertising purpose. But at the same time, it won't be too costly for you as well. But why do we think all these strategy works to make your customer base sustainable? With respect to conference, prominent sponsorship of the events can gather tech savvies all around the world to your events, so you can deliver message accurately to your target customer. Sophisticated speaker can as endorsement can also give high credibility to your product, which can then attract tech-savvy users' interest to try on your product and grow this base. And whereas for free trial, free cash can certainly attract the public to try on because they either gain something or gain nothing. So when they gain from the robotic service, they see the impact of it, and they will have a high desire to try on their robotic service, and you change their perception successfully. So you get trust via experience. So now I'll pass the platform to Joyce to talk about the finance part.
So let me walk you through the details about our timeline and also our financial budget. So mainly, we think that actually it's more important to maintain our tech-savvy customer first because they are your main customers. Therefore, we will license the chatbot technology, which will mainly provide them instant advisory service through the chatbot. And secondly, in 2018, we will hire the relationship manager mainly for the mass customer group. And then we will launch our new service by June of 2018. And by 2019, we will start doing our marketing campaign, which involves providing free trial service and also holding conferences. Meanwhile, for the financial budget, we will have about $1 million mainly for the licensing of the chatbot technology. Meanwhile, for the human resources of hiring the relationship manager, we will cost your company around $2 million. And meanwhile, for the marketing promotion, we will reserve a budget around $5 million to $8 million. It's because it's due to the fluctuations of how many customers are joining to this. And therefore, we believe that actually we have considered we have a total of 190 million venture capital. Therefore, we think that we put 10% of the total capital for the whole promotion project and also the investment will be very adequate. And therefore, to conclude, we believe that with our strategies, 2020, it can help your company to gain more customers, not only from the tech savvies, but also from the general mass publics. And we believe this will be very adequate and sustainable to your growth and also your market. And this is the end of our presentation. Hope you enjoy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, this team, for the very interesting presentation. And now we have 15 minutes for the judges to raise any questions that you have for the team.
Okay, maybe I'll start. So the first question I had was around the chatbot technology.
Yes.
And you said you want to use it for the tech-savvy customers, right? So my question is, does it make sense to also use it for mass market? Because chatbot kind of gives you that human feel, right? It gives you that human touch. What do you guys think about that? Would it make more sense to use it for?
Actually, we have to think about it. Actually, why we want to first launch it for the tech saviors, because like tech saviors, they do not trust human at all. They trust they're the technology guy. They know about system. They know about algorithms. Therefore, actually, they want to have a whole transaction with no human involved. Therefore, why we first want to launch the chatbot technology for tech savers, because we think that actually that's what they want. They want an instant response. They want an instant message to reply what they want to ask, like, okay, currently the economic fluctuation, would that affect my investment? They want the chatbot technology to answer them. However, why we not first launch for the mass? Because we understand the mass customer behavior. Why they want to use the service of a hybrid is because they do not trust the systems. They do not really know about them. Actually, they maybe heard of it from news, from friends, but they do not really know much about it. Therefore, they want to have humans, to have a relationship manager to tell them actually what it is, to advise them actually what the theories behind why it's sustainable. Therefore, we think that at the first stage, we want to launch the chatbot technology mainly for tech savers more. But then we will use mainly for the relationship manager for the mass public. But actually, the ultimate objective we want is like we move the mass public to become our tech savers, and they know to use our service so that we can save the human cost, and at the end, the chatbot technology will be adopted to them once they have shipped from the mass public and become the tech savies.
Lead on the back of that. If I understand it correctly, you're looking at the overall market. You've ruled out going niche. So how do you intend to deal with the competitive landscape and the threats that brings?
Thank you for your questions. In order for that, we believe that in order to what makes us now, maybe you can think like, okay, so what's your competitive advantage now? Because you're kind of like shifting a little bit to the hybrid for the mass customer itself. But we believe like based on what we observe from the case itself, that says that, for example, Charles & Schwab and also Vanguard itself, those by shifting our services into hybrid makes us somewhat kind of like competitors, not become like those small startups anymore, but those giants. However, we believe because they enter the market late, we believe that the algorithm that the company has generates more alpha. So that's why that the company, if it's really, the core competencies is in its algorithm, it can provide generous like more alpha. Like from the case, we know that the alpha managed to be generated like around 4% as compared to the S&P 500 index. So that's quite great as compared like to other giants as well. So that's why we believe that it's all right. Although that we know that we were shifting a little bit, but they're also like a little bit late. So within its time frame, we believe that we can compete like with those giants.
And was it alpha entirely, or was it tax credit?
What we gather, it's just like an alpha of like 4%.
Well, I'm actually coming from the angle of, have you actually thought about the value proposition of the company? What is the value proposition of the company at the moment? And when you try to actually expand the target segment to cover also mass market, are you going to change the value proposition, or is there a different value proposition to the other segments? Have you thought about this?
I think the current value proposition that they have is their technology that currently having. What's great about it, other than the algorithm that they're having, is the tax investment service that they have. The tax technology that they have actually managed them to generate more returns compared to traditional one. So as the current value proposition would be that. And I think for the future, we're not going to like target mass marketing directly. I mean like not gonna like target mass public like directly. Obviously we will try to recommend in Wealthfront to do it like step by step, test out the waters. So what we're recommending here is we want to convert like those that don't trust with the technology to trust. But we will try to like recommend it like little by little, step by step, testing the waters a bit. However, the value proposition I think would still be the same, because that's what we want the world to know, that we're the pioneer in the algorithm and then the technology itself.
Yeah, just an add-on, because like your company believe like technology helps people, but then there's a group of people. But then just by going to expand the tech-savvy market will be too risky, because it's just a part of it. It's quite niche. Like you have much more potential on those non-tech-savvy market. But then, however, like we identify that most of them, they don't come to you because they don't trust technology. They don't know about it. They don't have knowledge. So that's why in order to like build these two points together. That's why we launched the free trial. We launched the hybrid product to incorporate some human element and together with some of our technology assets, so that they realize the advantage of it and they are willing to reach out to our product.
Okay, so what I've heard is you believe that the current value proposition is already good enough. So you're resting, you're putting a trust in the existing business model and existing technologies. So the next question I have is the sustainability of the company. Okay, this company is kind of a disruptor to traditional, conventional financial services company, right? By having its niche in, technology and providing services that others can't quickly do so, right? And it might have a good kind of at this moment. What about the future? I mean, it talks about positioning themselves as a software company instead of a financial services. So as a software company, you don't just make one software and then live forever happily. So what's the plan? For in this really fierce competition financial services industry.
I think actually in the short term, what we help your company want to provide is actually a more service, not only identifying all the traditional investment service only, but we want to provide advisory service as well. Therefore, so that it provide a more comprehensive service, so that's why we provide a chatbot technology, because like it provide you instant advisory service and instant advisory response. And this is actually for the short-term goals, mainly 3 years. What we want to achieve for your company is providing more comprehensive service and also having more customer base. But I believe that because like there's never succeed for a business if only invest in one business model and providing only entire unique service. Therefore, actually in the future, what we have considered is actually building a very ecosystem service, not only targeting on the financial service, but also invest in other service which will be very profitable in the market. And therefore, we will actually in these few years not only focusing on developing the algorithm ourselves, but we will also look into the market to see what are some of the business opportunities available in the market, and we would like to invest in it and acquire it to be one of your core business part.
So, that's a related question, and what I hear is you still believe that the core competency of the company should be the technology, but it's still a technology company. So by moving into mass market with relationship managers and all that, in some sense, you're changing the DNA of the company, right? You're now expecting it to behave like a finance company. Have you thought of other options in terms of business models where you perhaps can partner with a bank or a finance company and provide them your technology at a service fee or whatever? So you don't go directly to the customers or mass market, but you go via.
Sure. In light of like both of your questions, I think that in addition to what she said, is our strategy is proposed just within the short term, because we're not still clear yet how the artificial intelligence will kind of like develop the like wealth management industry itself. So within the short term itself, what we're recommending for the company is just to grow your customer base using this. What we're suggesting by providing is hybrid, just to turn the customer itself. We realize that by providing this, we're changing the DNA of the company a little by little. But because the owner of itself believes that of the capability of the company itself, we won't suggest the company to shift entirely directly. But then you said that this is kind of like a disruptor in the future. That's why in the future, like after 2020, who knows, like in the future, like R&D and perhaps like the company itself, because like what we gathered from the case, that people from the company believe that in innovation within the company itself. We can't really say for sure what is the technology right now, but other considerations would be, what if like it's not successful? Then would be maybe like to sell our technology to other companies, to other banks, and then like to license like our software, giving them this technology. Sure, we will try to recommend that beyond the 2020 timeline of what we're providing.
So I agree with you that probably we don't know what is going to happen,
Yeah.
you know, after 2020, and especially in technology development. But as a company, you are now advising us as a company. Right?
Sure.
What could we do to facilitate an environment that could help us, you know, continuously innovate beyond 2020? That's my question.
I believe, like, to answer this question, actually we have thought of our operation plan. It's actually our idea incubator. I believe that Ruby can tell you more about the details about it, which we have thought of it.
Yeah, so for Idea Incubator is basically to launch some event, let's say like competition. So within the competition, we are trying to find some good ideas in the marketplace that is worth to invest. So the winners who comes out will receive some funding, will receive support from our companies. Let's say funding support, technology support, mentor advice, or even distribution platforms. And eventually, after the product is produced successfully, then we will buy the license from them and we will launch them out using our names. So by doing so, we are able to buy people's innovation, which with good potential, and launch the marketplace in order to gain revenue.
And also, I believe, like, Kaitlyn will tell you more about our seed funding strategies.
Because we are going to launch some seed funding from some investor, like the original part of the funding, and also because there are also some open sources in your company that you rely on your tech-savvy users that can provide some more ideas and innovation about your company's existing system. So it will be combining the seed investment and also the open source function of your company's function right now. We believe that we can move beyond the 2020.
Just digging into the costs a little bit, you covered a number of cost items, but on the other side, in terms of projected revenues, there wasn't much in terms of the picture. How does that look going forwards?
So I believe that the current company valuation is 700 US millions, and the goal that the board wants is like for the company itself to grow even further. So we hope that to kind of like double the number of that, or maybe just like to grow further rather than the 100 million itself.
700 million on $1 billion of assets.
And
very high valuation.
it's yes, it says that the valuation of the company, like in 2014, I believe, like the company itself is like valuing at USD million 700. I think I got it.
I think that's the that's the current company valuation. And believe in terms of sales growth, actually we will split by percentage from of the two market. And firstly, for the tech savvies, we believe that with our strategies and providing more comprehensive and better service, actually it can help for that market to have a 10% growth of the revenues. Meanwhile, for the mass market, because now your company is still new to tap into the market, so therefore we think in the first beginning to drive revenue mainly from the mass market one will be around 5%.
So your revenues are all from asset gathering?
Because like currently your revenue model is mainly relies on the 0.25% of how much they have put asset into your company to invest. Therefore, we believe that this is more is a more acceptable growth within like for the coming years for the first 3 years, because like we just launched the strategies.
Do you see any other revenue opportunities from the software that you develop and licensing and selling that separately?
licensing will be one of the opportunities that the company can tap into in terms of like increasing its revenue model other than just like providing the services that they have currently. And also other than that, perhaps they can tap like into other markets, for example, like providing what they have like with the algorithm and stuff to actually maybe like some kind of like tap into an education industry. Like for example, an FTS software that we use in CDU, it's helping us to learn about like trading strategy game. So perhaps like the company itself can use the technology in order to help like tap into other industry itself.
In terms of cost of acquisition, which is currently at $1,000 per customer, and given they earn very low revenues, right, 0.25% on the AUM that they have, how do you think, to kind of balance that? Because you're still going on a customer acquisition, right? So have you guys thought about in terms of designing ways of kind of minimizing or reducing the cost of acquisition which the company has?
You mean the cost of acquisition?
Per
Customer acquisition.
Customer acquisition cost.
You mean for the mass one, or you mean for the?
For the tech savvy, which is where they are today, even there it's like $1,000 per customer. So
You mean like attracting more?
yeah,
I'm afraid time's up. I guess it's
Maybe I'll discuss with you after the competitions.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.